Hey everyone, welcome to our long-delayed WrestleMania Backlash review. We missed last week only because I had a family emergency. So everybody, for transparency, my dad fell down, he broke his shoulder, so we had to be, I live the closest, so I had to be with my dad. So the review had to be put on hiatus for a while. So we are going to do it. We are going to get through it, and this is the review of WrestleMania Backlash. Overall, what'd you guys think of the show?
It's
I'm gonna say
freaking Backlash.
I'm gonna wait.
You're gonna wait.
I liked it.
It wasn't a bad show. It was full of rematches, but it wasn't.
My opinions are gonna be very controversial, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, then let us start with our first match of the night, which was the rematch of Cody Rhodes versus Seth freaking Rollins. Who wants to go with this one? Who wants to take this one?
All right, well, I'll go because Putty doesn't have any notes. Yeah. So it was a solid overall match. Yep. It was not as good as the WrestleMania one.
Nope. No, not at all.
But they do always seem to tell a great story. I say always. It's been two matches, but they did. The biggest issues I had, number one, was there was way too many finishers.
Too many close calls, too many. Yeah, I like the fact that Seth actually came close to winning the match this time because he was quote unquote better prepared, like he said, because now he knew who his opponent was. But
it felt very like, even put finishers aside, it was so many pins, and the match was won, number one, by an atomic wedgie with a butt finger. So,
yes.
Me and Putty went over that so many times. So this is my big question. So there was a trunks hold by Seth Rollins, but it didn't work. But then how come Cody Rhodes' trunks hold worked?
That's literally what I don't get. Flipped around, and we were making a joke about it. It's like, oh, so apparently if you have your finger up the butt far enough,
it paralyzes them so they can't kick out.
Oh my god, that's exactly what we said. It was just the weirdest thing. Like, he was holding the trunks. I'm like, how does that stop him from getting out of the pin? Like, that's like saying, he's got my nose. I can't move now. Like, what the hell, bro?
He's got my nose.
I don't get it. And it was a flip over from, it was like a secondary, what do you call it? Like a reverse pin.
A reverse pin, yeah.
It was, but like the first one didn't work, but the second one did.
That's exactly my point. It's like,
I think they botched that and they did it again, kind of thing. I think that's what may have happened. But I mean, the rematch nobody asked for, but I'm kind of happy it happened. It wasn't a bad match. The one thing that really got on my nerves in this match were the commentators. How many goddamn nicknames do you have for Seth Rollins? He's the architect. Oh, he's Seth freaking Rollins.
When me and Putty were getting so mad about this in the WrestleMania review, you guys weren't even mad about it. We were already mad. In this match, Putty got so frustrated at one point. He's like, I'm done. He's like, I don't want to listen to this guy anymore. He said it like 18 times in a row.
Was it Graves or was it that
Graves is the worst announcer, and I'm not saying that just because he's a heel. He's doing his job. Then if you don't like it, no, he's so bad. Why is he here? Mm-hmm. He just yells things out that don't make any sense.
Pat McAfee does a better job than he does.
Pat McAfee does a way better job. Yeah, but like it's so frustrating. Just every 2 seconds.
You could tell that when Graves and Cole are on commentary, it's Vince McMahon. Make sure you say it's Seth freaking Rollins. Make sure you call him the architect.
This is where I get it. This is where I totally see the difference. Where you have an experienced guy with Cole. McMahon's like say stuff and he's like he knows that he can get away with not saying what McMahon's saying as long as he calls the match the way McMahon wants it, where the other guy's like, I want to keep my job. Every single word he says in my ear, I'm going to keep repeating it.
Yep. And that's exactly, and like I said, and this was the second longest match on the show.
Yeah, it was a little bit too long.
Yeah. They could have gone a little shorter on this one. Once again, Cody Rhodes goes over. You think the feud ends?
No. And I think that we're starting to see that a big reason why Cody, like, I think he got a lot of his own stuff done in AEW, but he's really full of himself and he's abusing his power right now to get these really overly long matches in, and it's going to keep happening, whether it's with Rollins or not.
Well, I mean, on Monday night, he had the match against Theory and he lost due to Seth Rollins' interference.
Yeah,
like,
but
not this past Monday, but the day after.
He's willing to work, but he still wants to be the center of attention.
It's not that interesting. Honestly, this whole rivalry or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't seem as like I feel like maybe it's just we're getting not oversaturated, but there's always going to be rivalries, and there's just sometimes it just doesn't work. And I don't feel like the chemistry between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins works to my eyes. Like it doesn't.
It's done. For me, it should have been a one and done.
Yeah, it doesn't feel natural. Like I felt more better when it was at WrestleMania and he didn't know who it was. Now it's like, okay, so you're mad at him, leave it alone. Like now it's kind of like it's a fake chip on your shoulder that's not entertaining at all. Like just stop.
I love chips.
Yeah, me too. But yeah,
spicy Doritos.
Oh, hold on, guys. I gotta plug my computer in. Go on to the next match.
And especially, going back to what we're saying about Cody, and especially the fact that what's it called, the Roman Reigns signing that lucrative contract that he's only going to show up like 10, 15 times a year now, and he's your champion. Yeah, Cody Rhodes is never getting that championship match now.
Another thing too. So we might as well just go into full rumor mill while we're here.
Yeah.
Allegedly, he wanted to retire.
Reigns
with the two belts, or either that, or he was going to jump ship holding the two belts. So WWE made him the offer of more money with barely any shows, and he was like, "Okay."
The Brock Lesnar contract.
Yeah. So, but that's how that came about, because he was ready to. He was done. He wants. I think he has an injury. Like we know he's gone through a lot of life-threatening things already, but I think he doesn't want to wrestle anymore.
He think he's done. Yeah. He doesn't. That's why he went with the Brock Lesnar contract.
Yeah.
And Brock Lesnar did it for 10 years after that.
Yeah.
He's doing it right now. With one more UFC match in that 10 years too. He had another UFC match. But anyway, we're moving on to the next one. A match that should have never happened was the rematch versus Bobby Lashley and Almost a Wrestler there.
Yes, Almost a Wrestler versus this match was actually Almost a Wrestler versus Almost.
Okay. I actually remember this. Campbell, I'm stealing this from you. Campbell was the one that brought this up to me. There's a point where the guy that almost did good in wrestling almost also ran like a real person. Not really. Okay, Campbell literally had me rewind this.
We got into an argument too. Like, I'll let you tell the story, but like he kept rewinding it too far, and I'm like, you went back to the beginning of the match. I'm like,
so I was using the rewind bar instead of doing the 10-second backwards. So he kept getting mad at me because I was going way too.
We ended up watching the beginning of the match 5 times.
No,
no. What made it worse is,
and this match it was 8 minutes and a half, and it went 30 seconds too long. Or 8 minutes too long. It should have only been 30 seconds.
And you don't understand the funny thing. We were actually rewinding it to see something horrible in the first place, because John here was the one that pointed out that if you watch Almost, he runs like he doesn't know how to run, or he's acting like he's running.
Yeah, it's like a fake run. He looks like
because he can't run because that guy's so tall. He takes one step, he's across the ring already.
So he does this weird thing where he does like a couple little hops, and he makes it look like he's trying to run, and then he's already there, and it's over.
So he saw it, and he said, "Did you see that?" I go, "No," because I was looking away. He goes, "Rewind it." So I rewind it, and it literally rewinded the whole match.
Oh, no.
So then I'm trying to skip around to find it, and I'm finally like, just let it play, and we let it play, and finally get to it, and it was just such a train wreck.
This match was better than the one at WrestleMania.
Yes, but it was still 100%. It was still 8 minutes too long.
Bobby Lashley,
no matter how much you polish shit, it's still shit. I'm just gonna say,
there was very little pop, even on the entrances. Again,
nobody cared for it.
Nobody. This is the thing. Bobby Lashley allegedly was very over for a while, but now no one seems to care about him.
When I literally told Campo, when you make the Great Khali look like a better wrestler, you're doing a bad job.
Yes.
Yeah. So also MVP
so Almost versus Great Khali, Hell in a Cell. We're booking it.
No, I don't want that. But he's better than Great Khali already.
The Punjabi prison match.
He can at least do stuff, but MVP was super annoying. Like, I don't like the fact that you can hear what they're saying outside, because it adds this element of like, if they're saying such dumb things. You're a really stupid idiot. You can't wrestle. Like, who cares if there's a guy outside?
Oh, we're gonna get into that in the last match. Oh,
yeah, it got so annoying to the point where like I don't understand what effect that has. And on the wrestlers.
You could tell MVP is trying to learn. He's trying to be Paul Heyman.
Yes,
and it's not working.
No, and he's with the wrong guy to be doing it. But
yeah. It's like when Paul Heyman was managing Ryback.
Yes. Okay, that's a good. And we don't talk about Ryback anymore. He's fully canceled.
Feed me more.
This was a big thing, and me and Putty both noticed this. Any single time that Almost is in trouble, he starts smiling. He's in a sleeper hold. He's smiling. He's getting an armbar. He's smiling. He's getting punched in the face. He's smiling. And it's not smiling like I'm tough. You can't hurt me. It's smiling like I'm having fun doing this match. And I'm not supposed to be smiling, but I am.
He's like a big kid that's just like, oh my God, I'm in wrestling. I'm so excited.
It takes you out of the match because it's like
it does.
He's in a sleeper hold going to sleep and he's smiling with his eyes closed.
And it's supposed to be this big guy taking out an even bigger guy, and it takes you out of that immersion.
It doesn't feel, it doesn't feel imposing.
Like, I mean, the thing is, if almost were able to wrestle, this match maybe would have been a little bit better. Like, we're used to Bobby Lashley in the David and Goliath style matches where Lashley is the Goliath. But this time Lashley is the David and almost is the Goliath.
And he shouldn't be. But of all the matches that they didn't give us again in this, why would you pick this one even over like the New Day match? Like, I don't get it. Why would you give us this one?
Why do you not have your brand new women's champion? Yeah, you could have done a rematch with Becky Lynch, and I would have rather had the rematch versus Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. 100%. They had promos for it, but they never showed a match.
That's what we thought too. Okay, so I want to say something about that. We'll get there when we get there, but. You know what I'll say right now? They show they show a promo of Bianca Belair. Okay,
3 times. Three times they showed it.
But listen, so not only did we think this match was happening, but in the time when we got deep into this promo, I was like, how is this still going? And I was getting so frustrated because I've heard her talk in real life and she does not sound like this. The character that she's playing is so fucking annoying. I've never heard her talk before in ring. I'm just being honest because I don't watch the weekly thing, Belair. Yeah. It's so bad. It's like picture the dumbest possible Valley girl on Instagram and times it by 10 million, and that's her character. Who the fuck likes this person? I don't get it. You get it.
I'm the EST.
I was like, oh, this is so embarrassing. I was like, this is embarrassing. I'm like, Putty, please change it. And he's like, okay. And
she needs to go more hood.
She doesn't even need to. Just talk like your normal self. You sound like a clown. When you hear her talk normally, she sounds like a really smart person. When you hear her character, she's like the dumbest person I've ever seen.
And the funny thing is, in some ways, I like visually her, like the way she looks. Like I like her style, but just her character, like
it throws it like again. It throws your immersion off. It throws the immersion off. Like the way her character looks to the way her character sounds doesn't suit it.
The way she talks is like if I'm on Instagram, you're the story I skip over. As soon as I hear your voice every day, I'm like, no, skip this person next to the next person. Nice. But anyways, the last thing I want to say about this specific match. Mm-hmm. The announcer said at one point, and Buddy will remember this when I say it. He goes, I don't care if you're Superman. When almost slams you down, you don't get up. And I was like, Superman? Really? Superman would literally kill everyone in this arena with one punch. That's your comparison? Like, to me, like, I get what they're trying to do, but like, to keep things feeling like realistic, you want wrestling to feel real. Why would you say such stupid things like that?
Yeah. Like, they could have just said, if you, Bobby Lashley, who can take a lot of punishment, if almost slams you, you're not getting back up. Or you
could have just said, I don't care if you're Batman because he's human, okay? Like, that seems realistic to me. You said Superman. Yes, I'm sure almost slams Superman and he can't get
it would
back
be like
up.
Shaq is Steel.
Yeah, exactly. Shaq would beat this guy up.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Yeah.
Can't free throw, but hey, that's Shaq.
I see him in the ring. He's bigger than all the wrestlers.
The funny thing is, Shaq's actually wrestled, and I still feel Shaq did a better job wrestling.
Hey, that's Shaq versus Big Show?
Yeah.
Oh, right?
I love how they try to sell everything. Like, this guy's this big. Shaq walked in that ring, and he was the biggest person by far in that whole ring. And he's 7'1". So you're trying to tell me this whole time that Big Show's not even 7 feet. In real life, he's like 6'9".
Yeah. Which is still huge.
Yes, but like it's like overselling, right?
Yeah. So they were billing Shaq at like 8 feet tall.
Yeah, he's 20 feet tall. It's Shaq.
But yeah, the less said about this match, the better. Almost goes over again. Is this feud done?
It was still better than the last one, and I hope it's done.
But that again, that's still not. This is still the worst match of the night in my eyes. So
Let's see, where do you put Bobby Lashley from here? He's got nobody.
I think how did you take a guy? I was talking to somebody. How did you take a guy that was at the top of your list? He was your Roman Reigns, the one person that nobody liked, that you were pushing like no tomorrow, that you were going to put every belt around his
and you
waist.
Put the belt on him too.
And you were planning on never making him lose the belt if he didn't get injured. And all of a sudden he's barely a mid carder now. Fighting almost is not even a mid card match. That's like a beginning of the Raw.
That is the reason why Seth and Thing went first is because you need an opening match like that.
Yeah, because
if you put Almost and Lashley as your opening match, people would have clicked it off and that's it.
Exactly.
The selling point for this match was MVP, and he was not good in it.
And he was not good. Yeah. Yeah, let's move on. The better match here, I think, at least, this was AJ versus Edge.
Yeah.
And Damian Priest was banned from ringside in this match, even though he does show up.
Well, but he's not ringside. Technically, he's not in ringside. He's literally on the apron or on the walk line, or what we call it.
I mean, we'll wait to give what happens, but this is AJ Styles versus Edgelord, where Putty made a lot of Edgelord and style comments.
It was like, do you think you know me? Do you think you know him? Do you think you know him?
Oh, that's what I kept saying the whole time. Like, do you think you know him? I'm like, you don't,
because he doesn't use that song anymore.
Yeah, but
this was the best match.
This was easily the best match.
It was. This was match of the night,
and this was better than the WrestleMania match.
Yes, it was.
I agree on that.
I like this new faction that Edge is putting together. I want to see where they go with this.
And this is the worst part, though. Everybody knew it was going to be Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
And then it came out and it looked like Rhea Ripley, but they still tried to cover it up. Like, we knew it was a female, number one.
Yeah. The way it was, yeah.
Yeah. Like, no guy has a lower body that looks like that.
Well, it was either going to be Rhea Ripley or they were saying Tommaso Ciampa as well.
Yeah, but we knew that was a girl.
Because she's also like 3 inches, half a foot taller than Ciampa, too.
Yeah. And it was just like right away, Putty said it. I'm like, oh, it's Rhea Ripley. And then she took the thing off and it was her.
With
but good.
Hair.
I'm happy that she's there. I just don't like, I guess you don't want to say no at that point of your career, but like she has been flung around to so many things in the last year. It's crazy. Like if I'm a wrestler, I'm frustrated, but she just keeps saying, yeah, and she needs to stay here.
Yeah. For a while.
And I could see
this. I could see this continuing because we had the interference from Damian Priest, even though he never really interfered. And then Finn Balor comes up. So at least Finn Balor now is going to be doing something. I'd like to see a Finn Balor versus Edge match.
We're definitely gonna get a 2 men, 1 female triple threat
with Liv Morgan. Yeah, you think with Liv Morgan involved in that too,
or even they're not going to use Nikki ASH, so it's going to be Liv Morgan.
It's because they have that history, right? Yeah. So I think it's going to be AJ and Finn and Liv Morgan versus
because they're pushing Liv Morgan too. So
yeah, and
they don't want to give her a title shot.
And then I wouldn't mind seeing an Edge versus, because they already did the Finn Balor versus Priest feud for the US Championship.
Yeah.
Where Finn Balor beat him for the championship. So I would like to see Edge versus Balor, pushes him to the point Balor finally brings back the demon.
Let's see.
Yeah. This feud can continue and it has the potential for something more just because of all the pieces involved with it too.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with Edge and that whole it's like, I mean, again, they're just getting characters that fit back into what Edge used to be in that way. You know what I mean?
And this is good for him to take a step back too, right? He doesn't have to be the spotlight anymore and kind of push some younger talent, even though both Ciampa and Balor and Priest are all in their 40s.
But that's what a lot of the wrestling shows, even AEW, are pushing, using the older wrestlers to push on to the new younger wrestlers, so that even.
But see, they're doing it right, like the whole Darby Allin and Sting dynamic. I hate going back to that, but that is so good.
But that's why I was going to sum down. But I'll just say right now, the thing is what I see is, yes, I do see that there's a lot of better matches at WrestleMania than this. But it's still one of those things where we're just basically like polishing a turd. It's one of those things where we're just happy to have something a little bit better. When there's so much more better before, this
was the only match that was better. Like this was the only rematch on the card that was better than any of the Mania matches.
I actually don't agree. Me and Campo actually agree on one
really.
Match yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you something when we get to the end, like I said, and it's gonna be very controversial. But as we continue through this,
yeah. Well, like I said, Edge goes over, but he never beat him. He passed out. It wasn't really a finish, so the feud's going to continue. But like I said, because there's a lot of moving pieces in this and a lot of different people involved, I'd like to see this continue and see where they go with this. This is something I'm actually interested in. The next match of the night was Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair in an I Quit match.
I agree, Campo. At first, I was kind of like I felt off about this. I don't know if you still feel this way, Campo. looking back at this match, I actually really enjoyed this.
This
was
was
a much better version.
way better than it was at Mania. Like
Yeah,
not even
like
close.
100%. Yeah, I
Okay.
think
You just the whole match was so much better paced. It was way better like planned out. The being more physical, the fact that it was like anything goes was really awesome.
I just didn't like the more talking because the mic was live the whole time.
I didn't like the fact that the one thing and Putty will remember that there's a few things Putty's gonna have to remember now. But Charlotte Flair kept every 2 seconds saying ask her. Like, you didn't even do anything. Why the hell are you asking
barely
her?
did anything and you're asking her, and that's what frustrates. Now here's the thing though. I will say
I like the get the mic out of my face moment.
Yeah. Here's my thing. I've never the whole Ronda Rousey thing. I was always kind of like, I liked that they brought her in. I wasn't too interested. This was actually the first time that I was actually like kind of vouching for her. Like I actually enjoyed her, and even though I don't see her as a wrestler still. I was one of those people that I was kind of conflicted. Like I was excited the idea. I didn't understand how she got the Roddy Piper thing until even Catboy told me that she got his blessing and everything. Yeah. But it's just this was actually a little more entertaining than that. I will say I agree. There was times that literally Charlotte Flair would just like smack her and then say something like "ask her." It's like you barely did anything to her, and you're asking her, "I quit." Do you understand how?
And then Charlotte also gave up too easily in the end. There should have been the match should have won a little bit more, I think. But there was something I noticed too.
I mean, the finish was good. The armbar with the chair, and she's bending the arm.
It should have gone longer because she barely did any damage to Charlotte. Charlotte was damaging her the whole match. It's the same thing that happened in the other way around in the other match. But
see,
go, buddy. Go ahead.
Wasn't it Ronda Rousey? Not even just the chair. Remember the part that's off the turnbuckle over there where they did it over there? There were so many times that any other time I've seen Ronda Rousey wrestle, it just didn't feel like impactful. And this is the first time I'm like, because even Campbell, you even brought up that Charlotte Flair is good at presentation, just like her dad. You know what I mean? Like showing off the pain. So Ronda Rousey putting her in those positions that actually look painful, and then she sold it. This match together, they did great job in this one, way better than they did the other one, and that felt like it was sold more than me. I actually was.
And this is a big problem though that I have. I'm not a Ronda Rousey fan as a UFC fighter or as
I'm not either
in the ring
either there. Yeah,
but I'll explain why too, because her contract and the way they treat her feels complete. It's even more so than like the Roman Reigns situation. She's kind of like a movie star that they hire, like when they hire like Johnny Knoxville, and they're very protective of them. So when they had the kendo sticks, I told this to Putty. I'm like, watch what's going to happen. I'm like, it's going to end up with her taking both sticks and beating the crap out of Charlotte, and she doesn't take any damage from it. That's exactly what happened.
No, you don't understand. He literally said that, and not 5 seconds
it was telegraphed
later.
from the beginning.
Because I know the way they designed Ronda's matches is that so she doesn't do anything where she gets hit with weapons.
It's the whole Brock Lesnar thing.
Yeah, where
at least Brock Lesnar takes a little bit more punishment.
I don't like that. I think as when you're wrestling someone as skilled and as quality of a wrestler as Charlotte Flair, and she's there to sell for you, and she's so willing to sell for you, and she's even willing to shoot and let you punch her in the face, okay? And then you won't even take a shot from a kendo stick. The shots by Charlotte were like, I'm just gonna lightly tap you, and then Ronda was like full friggin' like.
But the thing is, Ronda didn't even have it. Like for someone who was hit with a kendo, she didn't have any welts, any marks, no nothing. Charlotte was visibly bruised.
Yeah, you could see it when Charlotte hit her. It was so like slow down and hit her. But it's like where we're judging this, I don't want to get too technical because I think the match was good. It's just I find that,
and it told a good story too.
That's disrespectful to the wrestlers that go really hard. That you're not even really a wrestler and you're here and you're not even willing to take a bump. You know what I mean? I don't like that. But I think the match was good. It's the first time I'll tell you I really liked a Ronda Rousey match. So
it's the first time I liked the Charlotte Flair match in a while.
I think Charlotte Flair is really good, but I agree with you. She's not like my favorite.
Charlotte Flair is oversaturated.
Yes.
Charlotte Flair, like we don't have anything in the women's division. We don't have anything going on. Put the belt on Flair. We don't have anything going on. Oh, we don't like the current champion. Put the belt on Flair. I think that's what Charlotte Flair is.
We would all have the exact same fatigue that we have with Charlotte with
Roman Reigns,
with Becky Lynch. If Becky Lynch didn't disappear for so long, if she was there the whole time, we'd have the exact same problem with her because they have the same situation. Just give her the belt. Why give it to someone good like Bianca Belair? Just give it back to Becky Lynch.
So I'm just thinking how huge the pop is going to be when Bayley comes back.
Yeah, and Bayley's definitely going to fight Ronda, and she's going to win.
And
I think so too.
Isn't Alexa supposed to be coming back as well?
Alexa made her debut this past Monday. She returned.
She doesn't like working with Ronda. They have a beef because Ronda purposely tries to hurt her every time they fight.
Yeah.
Why? I never knew.
If you watch their matches, if you see like the hip tosses, it's like full power UFC things on a
like
little
judo,
tiny woman.
like pure on judo.
And Alexa's really small, so when she throws her, she friggin' like
is it because of the
her
popularity of Alexa Bliss? Or
they just don't like each other.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's why one's on SmackDown, the other one's on Raw. That's why. That's also the reason why they put Rousey against Flair in the SmackDown match as opposed to going after Becky Lynch on Raw.
I never knew that. Okay.
And I think they're going to go Becky versus Bianca route after the
Alexa's
rematch.
a good wrestler, but once again, it's that situation I have where the really small women don't look like they're doing any damage when they're fighting.
Because they're so
no matter
light.
how good she looks doing stuff, it doesn't look like she's causing any damage.
Doesn't look believable, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Nikki ASH. She literally looks like she's like a blanket that's just like lightly brushing against people.
Or Sasha Banks.
Yeah. Sasha Banks doesn't even look like me and Putty talked about that. It doesn't even look like she's hitting anybody when she does anything.
But then her partner Naomi, she looks like
Naomi's awesome.
She could do some damage, that girl.
I actually like Naomi. I really do. I'm actually becoming a fan of hers.
All right. Then we had a match that should have never happened on a pay-per-view. This should have been a SmackDown match.
I agree.
Yes, I understand you needed a buffer between your two main events, but this wasn't it.
But can I jump in and say one thing?
Sure.
Well, you're talking about the Mad Cat Moss and Happy Corbin. I don't like Happy Corbin, but I will say, outside not liking the match or anything, I do like Mad Cat Moss as a character. Like I like where they might. I don't want to stay that way, but I feel like he has potential of becoming something different. That's a more nuance. You know what I mean? Like I don't want him to continue with Happy Corbin, but I feel like if he goes more in this really still happy kind of thing,
if they give him a push, maybe have him go on a run against Ricochet.
Yeah, like
for the IC champion.
Everybody really
forgot that Ricochet is the IC champ, right?
Well, Ricochet has been barely used.
Yeah.
He's always been improperly used since he got to the WWE.
Yeah. Him and Nakamura both.
Yeah, Nakamura is arguably the best wrestler they have, period. And they don't even use him.
Yeah, they squandered Cesaro. Now Cesaro left.
Yeah, and what else is going to happen? But okay, so this match was better than the original one.
I agree.
But
the original one.
The original one was the original match. The Mania match was that's where he first turned on him, right? The Drew where he cut the ropes with the sword.
Well, no, but remember the situation is that he's blaming Madcap for the
loss at WrestleMania. Yeah.
And see, the thing is, I knew this was going to happen because they were talking about it. And it was a big deal that he needs to lead Happy. And the thing is, you know me, I came into back in WWE with you guys and everything. Mm-hmm. And I never liked these two characters, but then after just even watching these two and a couple Raws, Madcap, the reason Madcap's getting to me is because I can understand the appeal as at a younger age, like thinking the mentality of being younger, that he would have that charisma, that draw in that way, as long as you put him against the proper wrestlers that could highlight that. You know what I mean? Like maybe pick on him a little more for being such a nice guy. So that way more of the fans are sitting there like, no, we want him to be, you get what I'm saying? Like I feel like
some of the fans can get behind maybe.
Exactly. Like the fans can get behind because you're going to get somebody that's just downright, you don't like it. You know what I mean? And Happy, of course. But that's my point. Happy is just way too boring to give Madcap that. Like you've already given Madcap.
Yeah, it's crazy how good of a wrestler Corbin is, and like the way he works in the ring is just so boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's become this generation's Dolph Ziggler,
basically.
Because Dolph Ziggler, I don't see him anymore, and he was squandered for 15 years. Now Ziggler's 43, 44. He's close to retirement, right? He's got to be close to hanging him up. And he's a company guy. He's like Ziggler. He's like The Miz. Guys that are top, they're good workers. They're good storytellers. Like Ziggler's a good worker. Miz is a good storyteller. Corbin has the talent. He has that raw talent, but they just never went anywhere with him. Kind of like a Braun Strowman.
It feels like he doesn't have the chemistry.
Corbin's really big too.
Yeah, like Strowman, they pulled the trigger too late on him winning the championship, and by that point nobody cared anymore. And I think that's where Corbin is right now. They should have pulled the trigger with Corbin a long time ago.
Well, but
sorry, you were saying, Putty.
Well, no, I don't mean to interrupt. I just this whole story of him going from poor to rich, like you got to remember, I got filled in afterwards after that, and it doesn't feel genuine. You know what I mean? It's pretty sad when the guy that you brought up, the Madcap Moss, even though he is an over exaggerated character, I believe him more in his struggles of dealing with you as an asshole than you actually dealing with the struggles of going from rags to riches and that whole storyline and then becoming a dick.
Which is the whole storyline. You know, they stole that whole storyline from NXT with Cameron Grimes.
No,
They did the exact same thing with him. He was poor and he won millions of dollars on the stock market, where the $1 Million Man came in, gave him the $1 Million championship and all. It's a similar storyline.
Dang. See,
like the Baron Corbin storyline. Yeah. The only difference is the Madcap Moss.
Yeah, and that's the only part I actually like about this. And that's the reason I'm hoping Madcap Moss might kind of grow into something different with somebody else. Because I feel like, okay, they set that up. Let's just get away from that. And I feel
who's
like
who's left? Like, if you want to turn Madcap, if you want to turn Moss a face, who's he going to face? There's no heels on SmackDown.
Well, see, I have no idea about that. That's my point. I have no idea about that. I'm just saying I can see the potential of them doing that. I just feel like they're going to still keep attached to him to Happy Corbin, and you're going to lose what I love about Madcap Moss because you're going to push it too much with the Happy Corbin. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, I like totally
the character. Yeah, so
I don't know. I got it. And at least this match wasn't too long. It was short. It was okay. Madcap Moss goes over. But the problem is Madcap, like you were saying, Moss goes over, but where do they go with him from this point?
Well, I want to say something. Hold on.
Sure.
The last thing I have here. So it didn't really make sense to me that for this whole match, Corbin absolutely obliterated him, and then somehow he lost a fight in a sunset flip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If anything, if they were going to continue this feud, Corbin should have gone over with Moss getting the revenge at, like, say, Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, it didn't make sense for someone to lose first of all, this match was way too long, like I said.
Yeah.
You went however many minutes of no offense at all for Madcap, and then all of a sudden he won the match.
This should have been a squash match for Corbin. 3 minutes.
It was a squash match. Well, it should have been an actual squash match, but
destroy him in 3 minutes, and Corbin's defeated, but he's not going to give up. You know, or sorry, not Corbin, Madcap. Yeah, I lost, but I'm not going to give up. I know I can beat him. You know, like tell that story, build him up a little bit more.
And that would have given me initiative to want to keep the whole story with Happy Corbin and him. Like now it's like he beat it, and I don't want to see it no more.
Yeah, it's they have an issue with this company has an issue with long-term booking.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But other than that, final match of the night was Bloodline versus RK Bro and Drew McIntyre. 6-man tag. It was originally supposed to be RK Bro versus the Usos for unification of the tag matches, but that never happened. For some reason, they decided to throw Drew McIntyre in there.
I'm not even gonna. I'm gonna be honest with you. It just this whole thing with Roman Reigns, like maybe he wants to get out and everything, but like he's supposed to be like they keep throwing out the head of the table. He's and I mean, even me and Campo, I brought it up again. The whole thing. I'd rather just him being taken out by someone in the family and then leave it at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm bored with this Roman Reigns thing, and I've not been there the whole time. I only came in when he was part of Shield. When he split up with Shield, I kind of drifted off, and I come back and Roman Reigns is reigning, and I love the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar thing. But then, like, even after that match, I'm like, okay, I've gotten that. Now I'm kind of already tired of Roman Reigns. Like, leave me alone. This is boring. Yeah, go ahead.
This match was great.
I don't know.
It was good. It wasn't a bad match at all. But I agree with you, Campo, 100%. A little too long, and it felt like Riddle was in that match for 3/4 of it, getting beaten up.
Yeah,
and
that's the only issue I really had with
the biggest issue that me and Putty had was at the end, right before whatever we knew was going to happened. There was a situation where, like someone jumped out of the ring, then someone else jumped out of the ring, then someone else jumped out of the ring, and then
when Orton does like the 6 RKO's on everybody,
and then Matt Riddle got caught in a situation where he looked and he seen the guy coming, and he blocked it, and then he looked and seen the other guy coming, but then still got hit by it.
Yeah, and that's when he got speared, right?
They should have won that match. It should not have been the Usos and Roman Reigns. And the way that it looked when it ended was stupid because the setup was just like dumb.
And then tell me
who loses to a spear? Unless it's Goldberg spearing you, who's ever lost just because of a spear? Even Edge's spear wasn't ending matches.
But here's my thing, though. We even talked
someone like Riddle. Riddle should have pinned one of the Usos. To progress that feud, which eventually they're going to have that unification match. So if Riddle pins one of the Usos, at least there's something moving forward that you want to see. Oh shit, Riddle won. Maybe they're going to win the belts.
And me and Putty were both convinced that Roman Reigns was not the legal man, and they showed a replay of it where it didn't even look like there was a tag. They're like, "Oh, like he tagged him in."
But what he did was he put the wrong Uso in the ring.
Is that what happened?
I think so.
So the wrong Uso.
So he put the Uso right at the end. He put the Uso. Was that at the end?
Yeah,
no.
He picked him up and threw him into the ring.
Yeah, and then he tags him. And then McIntyre comes in, right?
Yeah.
So that's when basically things started falling apart.
Because for some reason we did not feel like Roman Reigns was the legal man in any point.
And it showed that it showed the scene, and it was like, this is where the tag happened. Well, we didn't even see a tag, so we're like, what the hell? How did he? It was like
the tag was there. I just think he tagged. I personally think he tagged the wrong Uso in.
Okay, so that's what it was. But either way, I mean, the double Uso kick at one point, I hope everybody saw that it completely missed. Both kicks missed the guy, and he still just took it.
But the Riddle RKO off the top rope.
Amazing.
That was spectacular.
This match was really good. This was better than Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
I mean, see here, for me, it feels like there was moments that were good. I guess maybe just for me, it just felt like I think at the same time
it was bloated.
Yeah, problem
if it were 15 minutes, 16 minutes, then
because we were looking at the time, and me and Putty were like, "There's no way this match is going."
This was the longest match on the card at almost 23 minutes.
Yeah, and see, the thing is
longer than the Rhodes match.
Again, I know they're trying to put what's his name, like Drew McIntyre. They're trying to go through the whole thing with him and trying to make him like a big guy, but like the whole Roman Reigns not wanting to deal with him just really made me offish a lot, because like it's like you're Roman Reigns, you're supposed to be the head of the table. I know you're supposed to be a heel now, but it's like I'm just not feeling you no more. I don't even feel the bad guy. I feel like this is just getting boring. And you're not even intimidating in a bad guy way. You're just more of like, you have it and you're a big guy and ooh.
Roman Reigns is supposed to be this, like they call him, the tribal chief, the head of the table, this big imposing figure. I don't want to see him playing a chicken shit heel.
No.
It doesn't work for that character.
Exactly. And it just feels so, I think that's what made me so off, even because sometimes when it comes to wrestling, and this is the one thing I want to say, I watch wrestling for enjoyment. I don't watch it to actually go into detail. Campbell could be right. This could have been one of the most amazing matches to me. But when you take me out of the show with one character that just can't fit the storyline, I'm suddenly not even paying attention to certain maneuvers, certain things, because it's a story. You're still giving us a story. Again, like we used to say and joke back in the day, this is a soap opera for guys. That's what it used to be like. You know what I mean? And the thing is when you take me out of that surrealism of feeling like that, like I just don't have any dedication to you. If everyone else doesn't make it any better, then it doesn't fit me. And
they could be having the greatest match. Once your immersion is out, that's it.
Exactly. And that's at least, I will say this. Yes, you're totally right. The match itself was better than the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns, but at least I felt more for the Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, because I felt like there was more heat in it. Like there was more of like there was more
see,
more stakes.
And I get what you're saying. And
there were also no stakes on this match either.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm
like this match meant nothing.
Storyline, I get it, what Putty's saying. But like, as we all know, for me especially, I could care less about storyline. I'm just here to see the ring work. And so, but I get what Putty's saying. So, but for me, the lack of storyline here didn't bother me. The story they told in the ring worked, especially for a match that had no ramifications whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean,
there were ramifications in the fact of the tag match. That's why one of the RK Bro guys, or even the Usos, one of them should have gotten the pin, not Roman Reigns.
But it was so fake to see Roman Reigns like, oh, I got to fight you, Drew McIntyre. Do you really want to do this?
To be fair, Drew McIntyre is slightly bigger than Roman Reigns.
But at the same time, if you're some dude that's literally taking down Brock Lesnar, like I even looking between Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar looks way more intimidating in my eyes in that situation.
So and Drew McIntyre took out Brock Lesnar too.
Well, yeah, but you get what I'm saying, though. To see Roman Reigns go into a match with Brock Lesnar and not have that same, it just doesn't feel right. And I think that's the reason why we're all so good when it comes to podcasts, because just like you said, Campo, I love story driven things when it comes to these. You know what I mean? So when you take me out of it, for me, you're putting in two things. You have the technical aspect, which is wrestling, and you have the more story driven. And I am a very story driven person. That's how I grew up with wrestling. You know what I mean? And it works for me because that's what I'm about, and that's the reason why in this situation I can see why,
which I agree with, right? And like I said, I agree with that. But for my life of watching wrestling, I did love that. That was what I loved before. But in the modern day of wrestling, I don't feel like they can tell a good story anymore. That's why I stopped watching wrestling. Wrestling became really stupid. And when I came back to it now, it's through JD mostly. But my love of it now is this appreciation of the art of wrestling. I don't care about the dumbass story that it's telling.
I think that's why
I fully appreciate what you're saying.
Yeah. And I think that's why we all tend to gravitate more to AEW these days, because their technical work is much, much better.
Yeah, and I don't need to know anything that's going on to watch a match in AEW.
But see,
in WWF, if you don't know what's going on, sometimes it doesn't make sense.
Well, just watch about 10 minutes before the pay-per-view with the panel. It'll just like tell you everything for the last 3 months.
They'll all just not agree with each other.
But AEW is a prime example. Even simplicity in a story will get you driven into what the wrestling is doing.
Even like I'll always harken back to this one. Sting and Darby Allin, where Sting is the mentor for Darby Allin. What I'm waiting for is that time when Darby Allin's going to get 2 or 3 losses strung together, and he's going to finally turn on Sting. The pop that's going to get for that, because you know it's coming. You just don't know when. WWE would have done that already, and the feud would have been over. Mm-hmm. Where these guys have been together for a year now, and they're moving. The only one I see that they're working on that is the Randy Orton Riddle, where Orton's going to turn on Riddle eventually. You just don't know when.
I think they're going to drag this out for a bit, only for the reason that WWE sees a moneymaker in it and they like it.
Yeah. Because I would like to see Riddle turn on Orton with an RKO.
I would like to see this is what I personally want to see. I want to see them with the titles, which they have, or even if they unify them, and go on a really ridiculously, upsettingly long run with the titles
to like Mania next year.
Yeah, and then blow up at each other.
Yeah, let's say they go on a run, lose it at Survivor Series, and then start telling the story Riddle versus Orton leading up to Mania.
I think that's the biggest problem WWE has is they either don't let people hold the belts long enough, or they let them hold it, but there's no story going on while they're holding the belt. It's like the Brock Lesnar situation where he just comes back to be like, "I'm going to fight you," and then leaves. And then
it's Roman Reigns now.
Yeah,
he has both belts, and now he's a part-time competitor.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Like at least the Usos, they're the longest reigning SmackDown champions, but they're there every week. They're wrestling every week. They're part of the show.
Well, Charlotte Flair is the same situation.
She was part of the show every week. She was a focal point of the show.
And now she's on the same contract, or she's gone. She's going to be gone for a while, apparently.
Yeah, she's out for 6 months.
Yeah.
Just saying. So
either way, I'll say this again, like with AEW, it's such a drag that wrestling, like you guys said back in the day, was basically based on wrestling, and the more dramatic was just how they had their own charisma when it came to like mic work and things of that nature. Then you would see the work in the ring, and then when more drama came into the storyline when it came to wrestling, like especially the Raw wars, the war between Raw and Nitro and all that kind of stuff. You had that story, but you still had the essential good wrestling, you know what I mean? Or at least the enjoyable wrestling, even if there wasn't as much technical as like what Bret Hart would bring, or even Kurt Angle, things of that nature. The problem I'm seeing now is you still have some that are kind of technical, but they don't feel as like they do with Bret Hart in those days. And then even the story is lacking. So when you're missing,
because you do have those technical wrestlers, you had one in Cesaro.
I think wrestling is better now than
Nakamura. You had one in Ricochet.
I think not WWE. I think if you look at the general, you look at the entire world of wrestling and all the different companies right now, there's the amount of really, really good wrestlers is way more than there used to be, especially for the fact that now in North America, AAA and New Japan are very popular, which it never, ever used to be. They only knew those wrestlers because WCW would bring them in.
Every once in a while.
Yeah, and it was like, that's how you got through that. But now it's like, you have guys like Kenny Omega that's like just tearing it up in New Japan, and Jay White, and people are loving that.
That's probably why.
And isn't from what I understand, isn't Daniel Bryanson joining the what's it called, the tournament in New Japan?
Yeah, there's a few people that are going, but this thing with ROH and the Owen Hart thing going on, it's really good. Okay, well, we're going way off topic.
Way off topic.
So basically,
topic for another day.
I need to stop watching WWE. It's what's disappointing.
No, this is what I'm saying. I'm sticking with the pay-per-view thing because we're reviewing them here.
Yeah.
And I think I don't mind. I'll watch any wrestling pay-per-views. I'm okay with that now. But unless I'm super into a specific thing, I don't want to watch the week to week.
Yeah, but I'm excited. Well, I haven't been, and that's because there's no.
Hey, if Roman Reigns is too good to be on the week to week, then I don't need to watch the week to week.
Exactly, I agree with that. So, what would you guys? So, with that, the final match, Bloodline goes over. What would you guys rate the show?
Okay, so I'll go first.
Sure.
So, a WrestleMania, I gave night 1 an 8, and I gave night 2 a 6, I think, and I said it's a 7. To me, this was an 8.1. This was
better than WrestleMania.
This was a lot better than WrestleMania. It was so much more entertaining. Everything got done in a timely manner.
2.5 hours.
Watch 2 stupid nights of nonsense, and each night was 4 hours.
Yeah. I don't know about an 8.1, but you know what?
I think every match here was better than the counterpart. Even the matches I didn't like here were still better than the match they had at WrestleMania.
With the exception of the first match.
Except of the first match, which was still a really good match.
Yeah. Buddy.
I don't remember what I put for the review for WrestleMania, but I would say mine's at a 7. See, here's the thing. It's one of those things where at least at WrestleMania, I know I'm taking myself out of what makes me love wrestling, because the WrestleMania and Backlash now are not going to top anything in the past in my eyes.
Yeah,
it's just not going to happen. I mean, there's going to be.
It's okay. Wait for the Double or Nothing review in 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. But my whole point to the whole thing is just I had to put the 7 just to be nice, because there were a few things here and there that were okay. But it was just it's one of those things where at least at WrestleMania I got some things that were just more of like fancy dancy Hollywood, like, you know,
you like the spectacle of WrestleMania. You like the
spectacle, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is,
I can't knock you for that. I think that's fine.
Yeah, and especially if you're going into something called WrestleMania, and then you're going to put WrestleMania on the top of this and call it WrestleMania Backlash.
But that's where it made sense, because of all the rematch. This was the Backlash,
I get it.
And to me, it was like, how did you make a next pay-per-view that's way shorter, tighter? You still had all the good matches, and every match somehow was better than the other one.
No, I
should have called this WrestleMania Redux.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, again,
part 2.
Yeah, but because it's still, I'm definitely mentally in my mind comparing it to other pay-per-views in my
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and that's the reason why it's going to be like that. Yeah,
With me, I'm not going to go as low as you, Putty, but I can't go as high as you. Granted, this was better than night 2 of WrestleMania, but to me, it was not as good as night 1, even though basically they, like you said, this was the WrestleMania, both nights, greatest hits on one album, if that's the way you want to put it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it a 7.5 as well, which is still a good score.
Well, let's average ourselves out here and say give it an overall score of 7.5.
7.5.
That's fair.
It's a very good score.
We're going to have to start writing these down.
Yeah. The only reason why it took a big chunk out of it was the almost match. I couldn't get over that. Like, that's what made it lose so much. It was
still better than the last almost match, which to me means that this must be better.
He's improving.
Yeah, well, no, he's not improving, but Bobby Lashley did all the work.
Yeah. Oh, that's the one thing I wanted to say about the last match too that I totally forgot was Paul Heyman in this match. What's happened to Paul Heyman? Did you hear him in the middle of the match? Roman, I love you. I love you.
Listen, I don't get the point of the outside talking. Okay, if you're going to do outside talking, okay, that's fine. But I don't get it in general. But this situation specifically, it's like, why do you feel like every 2 seconds you need to call him my chief, the head of my table? Like, what do you think he cares?
But he did not do. But that's the thing. When he was with Brock, he didn't do that. There was that Brock Lesnar John Cena match where he did the 16 German suplexes on John Cena, and Paul Heyman. All he does is the outside of the ring. When he does a suplex, that's number 7. When he does another suplex, he goes like that. Then that's all he needed to do, and that made it more effective. Like, he babbled too much in this one.
Well, that even connects to the whole situation. That why it's drawing me out of it is you had the whole situation where Roman Reigns went in to kind of do the trickery, like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to wrestle you," and then he goes back to the corner. And then before that, you literally have Paul Heyman over the shoulder going, "No, my chieftain, you shouldn't do it." No, he was like, and I'm sitting there like, "Dude, you all are taking me out of this because if he's supposed to be such a badass, but you're doing all this, like it feels like I'm watching something."
He loves him. He's his tribal chief.
It feels like you took a 9-year-old that barely watched wrestling to make a create a wrestler match in.
Yeah, this is something you do in WWE 2K22.
Exactly. Like, dude, you're literally taking plots from a video game that I feel like Vince McMahon's like, I'm running out of ideas. Pull up the video game. What did this kid make? Let's use it. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you're running out of ideas. And because of that, I feel like a 9-year-old is making it. You know what I mean?
Recommendations though. If you want to watch it, go and watch it. It's still a good show. The matches were good. If you're a fan of the,
I don't think this is a waste of time.
No, it isn't. And like you said, it was basically take WrestleMania, create a greatest hits album, and this is what you got. And it for what it was good, very good actually. So I would go out and watch it. Other than that, any final thoughts on this? All right. On that note, thanks again for joining us. We'll see you on the next review, which is AEW's Double or Nothing. Have a good night.